long bomb, stride in the wide receiver's hand, didn't even have to stretch out. The defensive back all over him. It was perfect for a touchdown. This kid is going to be something. You know, the running game wasn't that good, but then Wisconsin's got a good defense against the run, right? So I expected that. So what did you think? Have you seen the game or saw it?
I did. I watched a lot of that game, and I thought two things. One, I thought they're extremely dominant in the game and look really, really good now. So now that's it. But I don't know how good Wisconsin is. I think Wisconsin's really bad. So I don't know how good it is. It's going to come down to the Penn State game, the Michigan State game, the Ohio State game. So you still got a lot of meat left on the bone. The other thing I liked was how good they looked in the blue pants with the white jerseys. I thought that looked cool.
Yeah. I know you're a Jersey dude.
I am a Jersey dude.
Here's a little bit of information or sports knowledge this past weekend. Did you know that only Alabama, Georgia, and Michigan, as far as points are concerned, have not been scored on, I believe, in the first half or something like that?
Yeah, no, I don't think that's the case with Alabama, but yeah.
No, that wasn't it. You know what? I'm getting older. I forgot the crap. I'll probably call you tomorrow and let you know. But I didn't write it down. I'm in the car, so I usually write stuff down so I don't forget it. But I got a real good information about the Wolverines. But with that said, the bad information. You know what that play was for the Lions, where they hiked it to the defensive player for Chicago? It's called the first-round draft pick hike. I guess so. I mean, it was unbelievable. They snapped it right into the kid's, almost hit him in the Gwathney, hit him right in the thigh board, and it bounced right to the Chicago Bears. I mean, you got to be kidding me. Well, that's what that was. Yeah. You know, they're gonna. Excuse me. Lions are gonna do that. I mean, it's gonna. Hey, look, I know it's only so many games in the season, but it's gonna be another first round draft choice. We got a lot of them. And if you get a lot of first-round draft choices, Tom, it's gonna do well for you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. No, eventually you would think, but they've had a lot of top. They've had a lot of top 5 draft picks in the last 20 years. I don't know what the heck's going on there. Well, we were picking wide receivers back in the day, Tom. Right. Yeah, every year. So it is what it is. So I'll let Badger Larry get on. It's nice to know that I beat him in his own Camp Randall there. I like that. Of course, he's going to tell you don't got a quarterback. But, McNamara isn't the greatest of all time. I still think that McCarthy's better. But with that said, a win's a win. We move on to our next game, which I have no idea who we're playing. Nebraska. Oh, that's right. We're playing Nebraska, I believe. At home. Yeah, they beat the crap out of Northwestern. So, and it's in their place out there. So we'll see how it plays out. But, I'm gonna keep this information. My son gave it to me, and I forgot what it was. But what I will do, I'll write it on a little piece of paper when I get home, and we will talk about it. But it's a pretty good stat. Yeah, and they're in the top 10 now. I mean, they came in like number 9 now, so now they're in the top 10. 3 teams in the yeah. Your trifecta. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I want to get this before I leave here. Your trifecta is Friday. Was Chad going to run the trifecta? Is who what? Chad? Is Chad running? Yeah, Chad going to run the trifecta? Oh, this week? Yeah, Chad will run it. It'll be posted online, and Chad will run it. Okay, sounds good. Okay. All right, man. I'll talk to you later, brother. I may have, thanks. I may have, like in the Friday trifecta, there's so many good college games this weekend. I may have all college games that beat the big dog. I guarantee you they're going to be all college games in the trifecta. All right, let me get a break. When we come back, Joey Blackwell is up next. BamaCentral.com right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Simple Green is perfect for making your auto, RV, cycling, boating, and other sporting equipment look like new. Visit them at simplegreen.com.
MLB playoffs starting this week. The Dodgers, the favorites to win the World Series. They host the NL wildcard game against the Cardinals on Wednesday. Dodgers plus 350 odds to win it all. The Giants at plus 470 +475, the Rays at +500, the Astros +600, and the White Sox at +650. Monday Night Football, the Raiders on the road taking on the Chargers. Vegas coming in a 3-point road underdog, the over-under 51.5. Both teams are 2-1 against the spread. UFC Vegas 39 Saturday in Vegas, the main event in the women's strawweight division. Mackenzie Dern, a -160 favorite against Marina Rodriguez at +135.
I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
AVIQ. Who is AVIQ? AVIQ is audiovisual the intelligent way, where we put our IQ to work for your AV needs. With more than 100 years combined experience in audio, video, and automation, our team of experts is dedicated to one thing: helping you discover technological solutions that make your home special. Once you experience a game or a movie on one of our state-of-the-art home theater systems, you may never leave the house again. AVIQ can build the entire system for you or provide the quality components if you're a do-it-yourselfer. But AVIQ is more than just home theater and state-of-the-art sound systems. We offer a variety of control options for home technology. Energy efficiency, heightened security, and improved quality of life are all attainable through the automation of home systems. Intuitive and user-friendly control is our main priority in designing a system that meets your needs. Don't just take our word for it. You need to see it to believe it. Come visit us at our state-of-the-art showroom on University, just east of Jim and Nick's, across from AT&T, or visit aviqhsv.com.
Are you in the market for a recreational vehicle? Do you want to get out and see more of this beautiful country? Well, imagine hearing the laughter of your little ones enjoying gooey s'mores by a cozy campfire and making lasting memories with your friends and family from the comfort of a new camper. We can make your dreams come true at Hall's RV. With over 15 years in the camping business, we know how to get our customers into the perfect camper. We have several models and floor plans here for you to choose from, both new and used. We're family owned and operated with fantastic deals and great service. Everyone wants to work with people they can trust, so come on down to Hall's RV and get the deal of a lifetime. We'll treat you right and get you on the road in the camper of your dreams. Visit us on Highway 431 in Albertville. Hall's RVs, where we sell fun. Or see us on the web at www.hallsrvsales.com.
Maybe the air doesn't blow like it should, or it's needing new tires, or you're just ready for something newer. It's time to move up, time to trade up. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, and it's the perfect time to trade in and trade up because your current car or truck is worth more than you know. In fact, we'll buy your vehicle even if you don't trade. We have nearly 100 Ford Blue Advantage certified pre-owned models to choose from. Our Ford Gold certified or low mileage, gently used vehicles with great warranties. They've passed a 172-point inspection by certified technicians, come with a 24-hour roadside assistance, plus a full tank of gas and a fresh oil change. It's the perfect time to trade in and trade up because your vehicle is worth more right now at Woody Anderson Ford. Corner of Jordan Lane and Sparkman Drive. Hope to see you soon.
This is Steve Moulton from The Drive. Be sure and join us today from 5 to 7 with Wes Neighbors and me. Now back to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Welcome back, Thom Abraham Show. This segment brought to you by North Alabama Mortgage. At North Alabama Mortgage, they're serving Alabama as well as Florida and Tennessee. They do conventional VA, FHA, and USDA loans, and they're helping you with your purchases or your refinance. You know, you might want to cash out and for a home renovation. You know what I mean? That's what I'm looking to do. Or college expenses. Probably could do that too. Or a wedding expense. Might need to do that too. How many times am I going to refinance? You can do it all with North Alabama Mortgage. Almost 100% of their business comes from referrals. This is a referral to North Alabama Mortgage. So check them out at NorthAlabamaMortgage.com. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com. Joining us now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline from BamaCentral.com, Joey Blackwell. Joey, welcome in. How are you?
Doing all right, Tom. How about yourself this morning?
I am fantastic. I spent the week last week telling people that last year's score of the Ole Miss Alabama game was very deceptive because it was a 15-point game, but it really wasn't. It was a much closer game than that. And now I'll tell them this week that this score is very deceptive because it was a 21-point game, but it really wasn't that close. It was more of a beatdown than that.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a very unpredictable game as far as, it made a lot of us in the media not look very smart after the wide discrepancy on the game in the score, but still a fantastic performance by Alabama, and really looking forward to diving into it with you this morning.
Well, let's talk about it and how they got it done. And the story here is the defense against a very explosive offense. All of a sudden, they're getting more pressure. They cleaned up the run. This was the number one rushing team in the SEC. They were good on the run. They still have some missed tackles. We still have Henry To'oTo'o finding himself in perfect position. I mean, you got to give him credit. He's always right there, but he's often not making the play. Now, he did make some plays as the game went on, but it just seems like that this defense is really coming along.
Yeah, it's really coming along, and it's really developed over these past couple of weeks. I think I think Florida was kind of a wake up call as far as defensively what this team has known since the beginning what they are capable of. But they prior to the Southern Miss game, they still weren't executing at the level that they wanted to. And I think Florida was really a wake up call for them. We've seen players improve since then. To'oTo'o is getting better, but he still is having problems with trying to tackle with his arms too much. He needs to get more in there with his body in order to wrap up better. But still a fantastic defense performance. Will Anderson Jr. was still as I call him the Terminator for a reason. He was still as prevalent on off the edge as he's been all season, and just really solid. People, like you said, Ole Miss was able to score 21 points, but that doesn't really show how effective defense was because people forget, like you said, Ole Miss has the number one rushing attack, and they have a Heisman hopeful under center in Matt Corral. So the fact that they could only hold them to 21 points says a lot.
I wonder how much of a Heisman hopeful he still is in a game that was to match the two Heisman hopefuls and Bryce Young and Matt Corral. I think the answer is Will Anderson. I mean, goodness. Give it to a defender for once, will you? I mean, goodness gracious almighty. He was the best player on the field.
I mean, even Lane Kiffin said that in his interview after the game. Lane Kiffin said that he threw, I believe he threw Evan Neal a Heisman bid, jokingly, but he also said that Will Anderson should be a front runner for the Heisman after Saturday's game.
Yeah, there was no doubt about it. And, and Nick Saban continues to adapt and improve, and you wonder, now you see Dabo Swinney out of the top 25. You can't imagine that happening. You see, to a Nick Saban coach team, you see Jimbo Fisher's team falling off the face of the earth. You can't imagine that happening like that. It just doesn't seem to happen with this guy, and it goes to his adaptability. I mean, he just makes his team into whatever he needs to make his team.
Yeah, the mantra at Alabama is just, we've all heard it 1,000 times. They rebuild, they don't rebuild, they reload. And it just, when you look at players, like it's kind of funny. You look back not even 6-7 weeks ago about the question marks that Alabama fans had about the defense, but particularly on offense with so many players and the high turnover there. How was Bryce Young going to do? And it's remarkable to think of how opinions have shifted about this Alabama team. We all knew they were going to be really good. But as far as how effective they've been on offense, particularly, it's been very impressive.
And look, they turn around and ran the ball like crazy in this game, because that's what they were given. And you got to give them credit. I think they ran it 50 times, and they only chucked it around 27 times. And the funniest thing has to be Nick Saban saying, this isn't really the way we want to play. And it's like, what? 10 years ago, this is all Nick Saban wanted to do. But if you're going to play that 3-2-6 defense, Alabama's going to continue to run the ball, and they did it expertly, not only with Brian Robertson, but with Jace McClellan.
Yeah, and Brian Robinson said it very well after the game. He said, he, of course, went to Hillcrest, which is a high school just south of Tuscaloosa, and he grew up watching Alabama football. And he said after the game that it felt like an old-school Bama win, kind of like that ground-and-pound style offense, which I was talking with some other media members after the game and talked about how, maybe that is the best way to beat Lane Kiffin, play the style of offense that Alabama had before Lane Kiffin came to Alabama. Kiffin had a huge hand in updating how Alabama runs its offense, kind of shifting to a pass-heavy, kind of pro-style offense. And, if there's a way to beat him, don't use his own offense. Use the offense that came before him, and that's exactly what they did. Like you said, Robinson, had 36 carries, 171 yards with 4 touchdowns. All 3 of those are career highs. And Jason McClellan did a great job until he was unfortunately looked like he was injured his knee in the beginning of the second half. But still, great performance from the Alabama running back.
Yeah, I mean, there was no doubt. I thought Saban was going to come in afterwards and give us the old,
I like this kind of football.
I thought that's where he was going. You know what I mean? I mean, that's a Saban ball right there. I was stunned that Ole Miss didn't get out of that D, though. I mean, they never tried to get out of it. They stayed with it and stayed with it and stayed with it. And, they would walk up an outside linebacker, but that wasn't helping. I was shocked that they didn't go more to a 5-man front and try to pressure Bryce Young and try to force them to throw the ball.
Well, you think they would have shifted that after Alabama's opening drive, but Kiffin. I know I'm quoting the players and coaches a lot, but Kiffin said after the game, after that first Alabama drive, Ole Miss went for heading into the game they were 13 of 15 on 4th downs, and then they started the game 2 of 5, and they kept going for it on 4th down because Kiffin was afraid to punt the ball because he said after the game that punting the ball, all it did was delay their offense from scoring. And I think that first drive, I believe, was a 94-yard drive from Alabama after they had stopped Ole Miss inside the 10 on 4th down. I think that really kind of shook up Kiffin, and he didn't really know how to adjust because he probably expected Alabama to come out, like we said, with that high-flying offense, and instead they were just running the ball over and over and pounding it through the middle. And I don't think that was something that Ole Miss was expecting, and I don't think they were fully prepared for that.
Yeah, and I understand what Kiffin is saying. It just delays how long it's going to take him to score, but that's not a terrible strategy. I thought here, and I've been very positive about Lane Kiffin and what he's done both at FAU and what he's done with Ole Miss, getting them turning in the right direction. I thought he panicked here. I thought he was choking a little bit, and all these going for it on 4th down. Yes, I get it when you're down in there deep. But you need to make Alabama go 85 yards because you don't know what's going to happen. A kid's going to drop the ball. You're going to throw a ball. It's going to get tipped in the air and picked off. Something is going to happen. And letting them go 40 yards instead of 80 yards is not a wise strategy, I don't think.
No, I completely agree. And that kind of goes, what you just said kind of goes hand in hand with what I said. I believe that Kiffin was just rattled and didn't know how to respond. And I do have a lot of respect for what he did at Alabama and what he's continued to do, post-Alabama. I think he's an incredible coach. And but yeah, that doesn't take away from the fact that they really did not know how to adjust on defense through the entire first half. They got a little bit better in the second half. They did make some second half adjustments that kept Alabama only scoring 14 points, but in the second half. But still, it just wasn't simply enough.
Joey Blackwell with us from BamaCentral.com. They cover everything Alabama. I mean, everything Alabama is covered there at BamaCentral.com. They're on top of it for sure. And I gotta ask you about the kid, the number 1 basketball player in the country, committing to Alabama. And people are automatically saying, Bama's cheating. I mean, there's no way Nate Oates gets the number 1 player in the country without cheating. And I don't quite think that's the case, but. Brian Robinson, as you said, 36 carries. I would think that Jace McClellan, he looked really good. I thought he was going to have more carries. You mentioned the injury. Update us on that. And then also update us on why, in a game that you were going to have 50 carries, Roydell Williams gets 3. Trey Sanders is non-existent again, and I kind of thought that maybe he would pick up some of these carries. I wonder why they went all Derrick Henry with Brian Robinson and gave him 36 carries, including late in the game when it was in hand. And I kept getting concerned, with an injury or something stupid happening late in this game.
Yeah, as far as you kind of answering your first question about Jace McClellan, we haven't received an update from him yet. We do know that he did undergo an MRI over the weekend. Saban has his weekly Monday press conference at noon, so definitely going to ask him about that, about his status then. So no injuries on the McClellan front. As far as Trey Sanders, still nothing. It's kind of surprising. Last week And before the Southern Miss game, we heard Saban saying that he was hopefully they were going to utilize Sanders more, and they were looking forward to it, and we still haven't seen him. So, they've been very tight-lipped as to his status and what's going on there. Maybe that's another question we can ask today along with Jace McClellan. But still heavily underutilized, especially after his performance against Mercer earlier this year. As far as Brian Robinson, and Roydell Williams, yeah, they had to utilize. I mean, we talked earlier about how Robinson had 36 carries, which he'd never had over 30 carries, going back to his high school days. And they had to utilize him a lot, which is good. They had an effective running game, having to only use Robinson and Roydell Williams. But at the same time, you don't want to have your primary back out there on the field that late in the fourth quarter, especially against a tough Ole Miss defense, because obviously that could potentially lead to injuries.
They head off to College Station now to take on a wounded Texas A&M team. You just drop back-to-back SEC West games. I don't know. Does that make them more dangerous, or does that make you look at it and say they're just not that good?
Well, if they were playing this game in Bryant-Denny, I would say it wouldn't make them as dangerous. But since they're going to be in College Station, I think that Texas A&M at this point, they have to have some sort of victory. You never want to start out, especially with all the preseason hype that Texas A&M had, you never want to start out SEC play 0-3. And with that, the number one team in the country, Texas A&M is definitely going to be playing to win the football game. They still have a lot of questions at quarterback, ever since Haynes King went down in injury. Zach Calzada has not been what they wanted. I mean, he was only 12 for 20 with 135 yards and a touchdown and one pick this last week. I think they're still trying to figure that out. The one thing that A&M has going for them is Isaiah Spiller and their entire running backs. I mean, Spiller had 100 yards this past weekend, but he wasn't able to get into the end zone. If they can rely heavily on the run, I think that'll really help their case against Alabama. But at the same time, after what we've seen Alabama do against Frank Gore Jr. and Southern Miss, and this past weekend against Ole Miss, if Texas A&M can't get the ground game going, then it's going to be a struggle.
When Arch Manning was at Georgia, we saw his daddy Cooper and Arch wearing Georgia gear. I did not see that at Alabama on Saturday. I wonder, though, what impact that had on Arch, seeing Alabama completely dominate, his grandpa's and his Uncle Eli's team. Was there ever any contact or anything that came down the rumor mill as to how Arch Manning enjoyed his trip to Alabama?
Wasn't able to make contact with him in person. Of course, we in the media are not allowed to talk to, We're not supposed to talk to recruits when they go there, but did see a lot of talk on Twitter from Alabama fans that bumped into him. The rumor mill is that he had a very good time, and he was very impressed with the style of offense that Alabama runs in Tuscaloosa. And, of course, the fact that Alabama dominated his dad and brother's team, I'm sure that didn't hurt. But nothing but good stuff from what I've heard. But this is still a wide open race, and I know Georgia's pulling up in there, and it's going to be a close one heading into National Signing Day.
Maybe that's why Saban said this isn't the way we want to play. You didn't want Arch to think that they're going to run the ball 50 times every time he comes there. And I mentioned a point guard. Just a word on that. Jaden Bradley. He's not the number one player in the country, but he is a top 20 player in the country. Number 3 prospect at a point guard. Great get for Nate Oates, though, huh?
Yeah, he's truly a do-it-all complete point guard. Many have compared his game, with like a younger Chris Paul, but he can shoot, distribute, he can run the offense, handles the ball really well, plays high-level defense on the other end, which is something that Nate Oates puts a high emphasis on. So, a lot of highlights. I'd encourage people to check out his highlight reel because he truly is impressive. And him being a top-tier recruit, there's no doubt that he can probably convince a couple of other high-profile guys to get to join Alabama next year. So, really big get for Oates and his staff. It seems like every time you turn around, Alabama's getting another top 25 recruit. So, just really impressive get for Oates and his staff.
Joey Blackwell has been our guest. BamaCentral.com. Check them out there. They got videos. They've got all kinds of stories as well on everything Alabama. Joey, I appreciate you, man. Good job.
Absolutely, Tom. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Outstanding. All right, let's get a break in here. We'll come back with a final segment in this hour, and then we'll set you up for hour number 2 next, right here on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Our zone deal this week is truly an award winner. Metro Diner, serving up signature dishes like their Charleston shrimp and grits, famous fried chicken and waffles with strawberry butter, and lots more. Their entire menu is available anytime, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And stop by for brunch on Saturday or Sunday and enjoy the lowest priced mimosas in town. Airport Road, Huntsville, and Highway 72 in Madison. Right now, you can get $50 worth of great Metro Diner food for half price, just $25 with our zone deal. Just log on 977ESPN.com to get yours.
What can you expect when you shop for a firearm at Bullet & Barrel? Expect great prices. We specialize in quality over quantity. Expect great service. Our professional sales staff is never pushy. We won't talk you into something that doesn't fit your needs. You have the right to make a smart, informed decision. Expect Bullet & Barrel, Alabama's only 5-star indoor shooting range, to support you after the sale. Bullet & Barrel, 3252 Lehman Ferry Road. Like or follow us on Facebook. Come see us soon.
TOC Sports has been there for you. Now, you're probably asking yourself, what does that mean? It means for more than 20 years, Alabama's largest orthopedic group has been there providing coverage and care to more schools and student athletes in the Tennessee Valley than any other group. It means whether you are the star football player, the all-region volleyball ace, or someone who hurt their knee in a weekend pickup basketball game, TOC Sports physicians are proud to have the opportunity to care for all your orthopedic needs. It means for parents, coaches, athletes, desk jockeys, or even weekend warriors, TOC Sports physicians continue to meet and exceed the orthopedic and sports medicine needs of our community. But most importantly, during these challenging times, we're here for you now, and will continue to be here. So as long as there are players on the field, games to be played, and contests to be won, the orthopedic specialists from TOC Sports will be ready to help. We don't know what the future holds, but you can count on the TOC Sports team to stay committed to you, so you can stay in the game. Call 256-539-2728 today and ask to see a TOC Sports physician. Check them out online, also Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Thom Abraham here for my friend Brian Hamaker and his team at North Alabama Mortgage. Look, buying a home is the biggest purchase you will make in your life, and it can be a bit intimidating, so you want people that can help walk you through the mortgage process and get you the best deal possible. That's what North Alabama Mortgage does, and they do it in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, from first-time purchases to refis, conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA loans. They have the solution at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
Taco Bell presents a get-out-of-bedtime story. It's time to wake up from this amazing dream, even though you're jet skiing on lemonade. How extreme! And oh, look at that, you just won the lottery. Is that a castle? Take the keys, it's your property. What's better than swimming in space? Just wait for the big reveal. It's Taco Bell breakfast and it's actually real. So it's time to wake up and bid your dreams farewell, because toasted breakfast burritos are waiting for you, only at Taco Bell. At participating Taco Bell locations near you during breakfast hours only.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
A wise man once said, if you take care of old folks and children, everything in the middle will take care of itself.
Hi, I'm Danny Aldridge, lawyer in Alabama and Tennessee. In the next 20 years, the number of those folks over 65 years of age will more than double. In our golden years, the most important goal is to be treated with dignity and have control over doing what makes you grateful with those you love. At the Aldridge Law Firm and the Legal Town Center, we're dedicated to help you with these goals, and we'll be there when life throws you those inevitable curveballs. Let us assist you with your legal needs, whatever they may be or become. You may reach us by phone at 256-534-3188 or online with Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Just remember, we're here to help. Whether it's personal injury, wrongful death, fraud and cheat, or estate planning made complete, we're here to help.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly cloudy sky with a couple of peaks of sunshine for your Monday afternoon. It does look like the vast majority of us are going to stay dry, though an isolated shower certainly can't be ruled out across all of North Alabama, southern Middle Tennessee. Temperatures a little cooler compared to what we saw last week. Highs only climbing into the mid and upper 70s, dropping into the lower 60s through the overnight. Better opportunities for widespread rain return to the Tennessee Valley as we head into your Tuesday. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Your home for the best coverage of football anywhere.
See, now this is a football. I want you to carry this with you always. Never let it out of your sight.
97.7 ESPN The Zone.
I'm aware there was a football game in Tampa or in New England last night involving Tampa Bay, Tom Brady, and the Bucs and the New England Patriots, and we'll get to that and some of the other things that went around the NFL later on after Tom Luginbill, top of the hour. We'll do more college football with Lugs at the top of the hour. And I want to get this out there. I just want to, I don't know why. Well, I know why. It's because it means something to me, and I just want to share it with you all. Chad, the college, the Bassmaster College National Championship, Auburn, it was won by Adrian College, and Auburn won the Team of the Year, which is like the Angler of the Year type thing. They were the most consistent team of the year. So Auburn won the Team of the Year, plus a couple of other anglers from Auburn were in the finals of the national championship. Yeah. So what happens is those 8 kids, there were 2 kids from Bethel as well. So those 8 guys, they go into a bracket competition, a stepladder bracket competition, 8, 4, 2, and a champion, to determine one of those guys will go on to the Bassmaster Classic, which is a minimum $10,000 for last place, up to $300,000 to win it. Plus they get entry into the Bassmaster Opens, which is the AAA level of professional fishing, and they get all their entry fees paid, plus they get a Nitro bass boat to use for the year, and they get a Toyota truck to use. Wow. So it's a big deal to win this bracket thing. Well, there's a kid, his name is Tucker Smith, and he was a 3-time high school national champion at Briarwood Christian, right? Yeah. Lives in the Birmingham area. 3 times national champion. He went to Auburn. He's a freshman on the Auburn team this year. He has made it all the way to the finals and is fishing today.
Oh, wow.
Against a kid who is a senior who he's fishing his last event as a collegian, and they're fishing today in this bracket final. And as of right now, Tucker Smith out of Auburn, representing Auburn, Tucker Smith is leading by like 6 pounds, 5 or 6 pounds over Tristan McCormick, the kid out of Bethel. And I'm pretty sure that Tucker Smith, he's a phenom, this kid. Yeah. A phenom you don't win the high school national championship as a sophomore. He won it as a sophomore, a junior, and a senior. And now he's on the brink of, he was part of the Team of the Year with Auburn, and now he's on the brink of qualifying for the Bassmaster Classic next March at Lake Hartwell. I thought it was a cool story. He's in Auburn.
That's awesome. That's really cool. I wonder how much these kids are making their name, image, and likeness now. With all the truck and the boat and some Enigma fishing out there on them. And
they make pretty good money. They make
That's nice.
Endemic wise, the kids make pretty good money on name, image, and likeness.
Sure, it helps them out too. Some kid from some smaller little area.
Yeah, they got sponsorship,
getting a scholarship out of it.
He's a scholarship kid at Auburn.
That's awesome.
They've got sponsorship, and they make a pretty good chunk of change on their NIL. But this would be a big deal. And even if he goes to the Classic and finishes last, he makes $10,000 for finishing last.
That's nice.
Yeah, doesn't suck. Tom Luginbill is next, right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Southern Fidelity Mortgage. Think of them as a loan for everyone, offering more products than anyone else and the guaranteed lowest rates and costs in town. Of the 2,000 loans that Southern Fidelity Mortgage has pre-approved over the last 10 years, all but one have closed. That's unprecedented in the banking business. For FHA, VA, rural development, and conventional mortgages, for the best mortgage experience in town, it's Southern Fidelity Mortgage.
Call Southern Fidelity Mortgage Company at 256-656-5936.
Maybe the air doesn't blow like it should, or it's needing new tires, or you're just ready for something newer. It's time to move up, time to trade up. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, and it's the perfect time to trade in and trade up because your current car or truck is worth more than you know. In fact, we'll buy your vehicle even if you don't trade. We have nearly 100 Ford Blue Advantage certified pre-owned models to choose from. Our Ford Gold certified or low mileage, gently used vehicles with great warranties. They've passed a 172-point inspection by certified technicians, come with a 24-hour roadside assistance, plus a full tank of gas and a fresh oil change. It's the perfect time to trade in and trade up because your vehicle is worth more right now at Woody Anderson Ford. Corner of Jordan Lane and Sparkman Drive. Hope to see you soon.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. You know, you'll hear people say we're like a family, but here at the Lackey Law Firm, that's really true, not just a saying.
I'm Justin Lackey. With my father and my sister, we have a special connection to each other.
I'm Jennifer Lackey. At the Lackey Law Firm, when we take on your case, you become part of our family. You really do.
And we'll always do whatever it takes to get everything you deserve.
If you're injured, you worry about getting well, not about paperwork or insurance companies or figuring out how to get to your lawyer's office. I'll come to you.
We worry about your case so you don't have to.
When you've been injured, we know that your case is probably the biggest thing going on in your life. More important than almost anything else.
And it's important to us too, for one simple reason. Family takes care of each other, and at the Lackey Law Firm, we'll take care of you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Here's what's happening. Buccaneers quarterback Tom Brady capped off what he called a very emotional week by meeting with his longtime former coach, Bill Belichick, following Tampa Bay's 1917 win at New England. Belichick paid a visit to Brady in the visitors' locker room. Was seen walking out about 20 minutes later, soon followed by Brady. ESPN's Mike Reese reporting Belichick reached out to arrange that meeting with Brady leading into the game. As far as what was said, Brady wouldn't offer any details. ESPN's Adam Schefter reporting the Bears do not believe starting running back David Montgomery tore his ACL in the win over the Lions, but he is undergoing further testing today to determine the extent of the injury. 49ers quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo set for an MRI today on his injured calf. Monday Night Football and AFC West Showdown. 3-0 Raiders take on the 2-1 Chargers. 8 Eastern, ESPN TV and the ESPN app.
This is Eli Gold of the Crimson Tide Sports Network. A new contract and expanded playoffs with the same results. Listen to Alabama football on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
You need to be more like a dog.
Like what you guys are doing. You've got your fingertip on the pulse of your listeners. You guys know what they're talking about.
Be a dog.
God bless the show. You are the Messiah.
We need more dogs.
This is the best show on radio.
The big dog, Thom Abraham, is here with you.
Hey, I see you. I see you, dog.
So settle in and get your bark on.
That's my dog.
Now live, here he is, the big dog.
Let's go, baby!
Thom Abraham.
How you doing? 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 How you doing?
Look, I don't speak Spanish.
I don't know how to say this, so I'm going to choose my words very carefully. I think you're a psycho.
Do you know who I am?
I mean, that guy sounds like El McPherson farting into Miles Davis' trumpet.
I guess I'm on here. Am I on? Can somebody respond?
Get off my lawn.
I have to drag my Yankee ass out of here.
Welcome back, hour number 2 of the Thom Abraham Show here on a Reaction Monday in the doghouse with the proverbial 10 pounds of crap, trying to stuff it into a 5-pound bag. Luckily, we have several days throughout the week to talk about it as we approach the halfway point of the college football season. Let that sink in. The halfway point. Can we just stop? Let's just take a month off. Can we just stop? I want everybody to have a bye every other week. I want 1 week to talk about the games. Then I want 1 week to talk about the next game. I want 24 weeks to do the 12 games. That's what I want to get in. This segment brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford. For all your service needs, it's Woody Anderson Ford. Doesn't matter if you have a Ford or not. Check out the service lanes at Woody Anderson Ford. Get your appointment made today. And brought to us, as always, by Woody Anderson Ford is Tom Luginbill of ESPN, and he joins us now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Lugs, we're halfway through this weekend, halfway through the college season already.
So can you believe it? I mean, it's ridiculous. And can we finally get some fall weather, for crying out loud? I haven't been below 90 degrees in any location in 5 straight weeks. In fact, it was 110 in Bloomington, Indiana, of all places, 3 weeks ago.
We had it for a minute. We had it for a minute in Alabama for about, and in Tennessee 2 weekends ago, the college football games, it was like 50 degrees. It was beautiful for the high school games, and it was. I thought it was coming, and then of course it was that they faked this out a little bit, and it's gotten hot. Once again, I stumbled across your show yesterday. I don't normally get the college wrap-up show, whatever that is, on the ESPN. That's a really good show. I'm usually watching the NFL on Sunday, and I bounced into it for some reason. I hit it. And I couldn't get off of that show. You guys do a great job. You and Heather and Acho and those guys all doing a really good job on it. That's a really informative show, man.
Yeah, it's kind of just a recap show. It's a really strong highlight-driven show. We kind of give a highlight review of what took place on the big matchups, and then not do a narration, but kind of give some some insights. Like I was doing some prep work. Coming back from my game for that show on Sunday, and I'm sitting there, and I mentioned it yesterday. It is amazing how the University of Kentucky is 5-0 and is last in the country in turnover margin. They're -9. That's almost impossible.
It is almost impossible. You were also talking about somebody that had, and I can't remember which game it was, somebody that won a game and had like 30 yards rushing.
Mississippi State.
Mississippi State, yeah, Mississippi State beat
and had 30 yards rushing and won,
and beat Texas A&M, which led to a bunch of people putting out the fact that Jimbo Fisher's record in his first 40 games is one game worse than Kevin Sumlin's record in his first 40 games. And I would argue that it wasn't Sumlin's first 40 games that got him fired. It was the fact that he lost 20 games in his last 5 seasons that got him fired. His last 4 seasons. He lost 20 games in his last 4 seasons that got him fired. I think that was the deal. But this is bad for Jimbo. I mean, losing back-to-back games in the West, and the fact that they don't really have an answer at quarterback when they lose one is not a good look.
Yeah, they're young at quarterback. They're on their backup quarterback. They're not a very good team right now on the offensive front from a consistency standpoint. But at the end of the day, I think we would all agree that Jimbo and his staff do a great job of evaluation. They do a great job of recruiting, getting kids to College Station. Because here's the thing you got to remember about them. They are recruiting and getting guys that everybody wants, right? So they're going to beat an Alabama. They're going to beat an Ohio State. They're going to beat a Texas. They'll beat a Florida or an Auburn. So it's not as if they don't have guys. They've got guys. The problem is the talent level is not equating to production on game day. That's Jimbo's biggest issue right now.
Was this a good Texas win, or was this a kind of ho-hum Texas win? Because I was looking for them to go large here going into the shootout next week, the Red River Shootout, which I will continue to call it the shootout, as I continue to call Florida and Georgia as the cocktail party. But this was, I was looking for them to go a little bigger against a TCU team that didn't look great here. Tell me about this Texas win.
This is how Texas needed to win. Because if there's one thing we know about Texas football is they have been horrendous when people start talking good about them. And they'd come off of 2 really strong weekends with blowouts of Rice, blowouts in their Big 12 opener of Texas Tech. Then you go on the road, TCU's kind of reeling, but TCU had won 6 out of the last 7. Okay, so they kind of got your number. Now you've got Oklahoma on the other side of it. So you're wondering, what's this Texas team going to do? Are they going to think that TCU can't play? Are they going to overlook TCU and look at Oklahoma? And I like the way they won the game. It wasn't easy. It kind of went back and forth. They had some issues where things didn't go their way, but they found a way to scrap and claw. And I think it's one of those maturity, growth-building wins. And I thought it will be. I think it will be good for them long term. Going in to the Oklahoma game, they're the better team. The question is, now with 3 weeks of playing really, really well, how to keep the focus.
Well, you shouldn't be a problem focusing for an Oklahoma team that is kind of just winning unimpressively, but still winning. And because they're Oklahoma, because they started at the top of the polls and in the top 3 or so in the polls, they've only slipped to 6. Texas just got into the poll. You know what I mean? They were unranked last week, and now they're coming into this thing 21 in the AP, 23 in the coaches poll. The way things look right now, with Oregon's loss and with the Big Ten having 4 teams in the top 10 right now, and the SEC, still sitting at the top with Alabama and Georgia just completely separating, it seems like, from the rest of the field. 2 scenarios. Texas wins, shootout. Texas wins again against Oklahoma in the 12 championship game and finishes 12-1. Is Texas in the playoff?
I think there would be a very, very high probability of that. It all depends on if there's any legitimacy to 2 SEC teams going and what happens in the Big Ten. Because Oregon losing hurts Ohio State. Ohio State's got a loss. Now that Ohio State-Michigan game looks far more comparable than it ever has in years past. And so for me, I still think some other things might have to get ironed out. And here's the other thing in all of this. I think there's a couple other scenarios. You'd be a Power 5 champ, all right? We need to keep an eye on Arizona State in the Pac-12 because with their schedule going forward, their only loss would be to a 10th-ranked team. If they won the Pac-12 outright, they would then be in contention. What if Cincinnati wins out? What if BYU wins out, who, by the way, already has 2 wins versus 2 Pac-12 teams, 3, and they also have Baylor and 2 more Pac-12 teams left on the schedule. Their schedule is going to be stronger than Cincinnati. So there's a lot to play out here, but if Texas takes care of their own business, they will put themselves in the driver's seat.
BYU is the best team in the Big 12 right now.
Right? I know it.
Yeah, right. Now, Oklahoma, can they afford to lose this game if they come back and beat, same scenario. I guess it depends on what's happening over their head. But you wonder about Oklahoma. You just wonder in a split scenario, does one of these 2 teams have to sweep the 2 presumed games that we're going to see between Oklahoma and Texas for them to get in? If they split the games, you wonder whether or not they kind of screw themselves out.
Yeah, and I obviously with Texas already having a loss, that's even bigger for them. And again, too, the Big 12 and the Pac-12, to me, I kind of feel the same way. You don't trust anybody week in and week out, and the teams are so evenly matched that if you don't have your A game, you're going to lose. Like, somebody's going to get you. Baylor could get you. Oklahoma State could get you. Kansas State, even though they're lacking their quarterback right now, if their quarterback hadn't gotten hurt, they'd be a problem. And so I feel the same way about the Pac-12. I mean, you just, each and every week, everybody's so evenly matched. You better play well, you're going to lose.
No doubt about it. Thom Luginbill with us here. Let's talk about Cincinnati now, because they got to, Iowa and Penn State are going to play. This ought to be a good one, man. Iowa's better than a lot of people thought. Penn State, this is going to be very, very interesting for them. So one of those 2 teams gets tagged with a loss. And you look at Cincinnati now, they're the ones that are going to benefit from that because they are sitting in the 5 hole, at least in these polls. Now, I wonder what the committee is going to say about this team, this Cincinnati team that now plays Temple, Central Florida, Navy, Tulane, Tulsa, South Florida, SMU, and ECU. And there's a couple of decent teams on there. SMU is a fun team to look at and so on. But still, you would have to say, I still believe that if Cincinnati was playing a full SEC schedule, a full Big Ten schedule, they're going to drop a couple of those games. They just can't do this week in and week out, I don't think. I don't think Notre Dame's that good, to be honest with you. Notre Dame does have the definite problem with quarterback. I don't think that's that great of a win. How will Cincinnati, even unbeaten Cincinnati, how are they going to be treated? Is this about fairness, or is this about who really is the best?
I think it's about who really is the best. I do think schedule matters. I mentioned to BYU, if BYU continues to roll, Cincinnati might have a problem because their schedules won't even be comparable. You're going to have so many more Power 5 teams that are on BYU's schedule that, as opposed to your point, were on Cincy's schedule. And keep in mind, Indiana is not the Indiana we thought they were going to be. All right, Notre Dame may not be as good as people thought earlier in the year. Tulsa's not the team that they were a year ago. Memphis isn't the team they were a year ago. I do think SMU could be a problem for Cincinnati. Just seeing SMU and what they did to TCU on the road last week, SMU is a really good football team. They really are. And so it's going to be it's got to be about best. I firmly believe that because to your point, and I've said this on your show numerous times, I'll continue to say it. If you take that team, that Cincinnati team, you put them in the Big Ten, you put them in the ACC, you put them in the SEC, it's not just the opponents you're facing week in and week out. It's also the environment, all right? It's different going into Knoxville, Tennessee, or going into Madison, Wisconsin, than it is going into Tulane or going into SMU. So you have not only better teams, but you've got more difficult environments, and I think that plays a role.
There is no doubt. Absolutely no doubt. When you see Ole Miss going into Tuscaloosa, Arkansas going into Athens this past weekend, and that was the thing that was missing from last year. And I'll always say that there's a little bit of an asterisk. I know I don't want to take away from Alabama. They talk about the greatest team. I'll never be able to compare that team to other great teams because of the fact that they never played a road game. And even Mac Jones, who looked great last night, he outplayed Tom Brady last night. No doubt in my mind, Mac Jones looks really, really good, but did not have to go into these environments week in and week out that these kids go into. And, and that's the deal. Now, the problem with BYU is that you're right about having wins over potential, over top 20 teams. And if Arizona State moves up and if Utah moves up a little bit more, but they don't have those teams left, it seems like, right? I mean, USC and
two of them.
Who?
They got 2 Pac-12 and 1 Big 12. So that's 3 right there. That's 3.
But USC, but are they ranked? They're not ranked. Like USC is unranked. They've got Washington State unranked, and they got Baylor unranked right now. Baylor's had a nice little run. They got the Boise State game. It's like it's better, certainly better than what Cincinnati's got. That's for sure.
Absolutely. That's the thing is you're comparing Power 5 teams and Group of 5 teams. You're comparing,
that's a good
even
point.
if it's a non-ranked Power 5 team, you're comparing it against
that's a good point.
Non-ranked Group of 5 team.
Yeah, and they're almost all that. I mean, Virginia's in there, and Virginia could be salty. You know what I mean? I mean, all of these teams, can be a little bit of a problem for sure. Tom Luginbill with us here. All right, Lugs. This is a quandary I have. I did in my commentary today, and I want to get your take on it. You get Arkansas getting whacked by Georgia. You get Ole Miss getting whacked by Alabama. That game is not even as close as that score. Got Florida losing at Kentucky. Got A&M losing to Mississippi State. Auburn goes in and does something they haven't done in 22 years, which is beat LSU on the road. Kentucky's 5-0. Who is the third best team in the SEC today? Is it Auburn or Kentucky? I mean, could it be Auburn or Kentucky? Auburn's only loss was at Penn State during a whiteout. They were tough in the game.
It's Auburn. It's probably Auburn. It probably is. The thing that's amazing, like I said about Kentucky, -9 in turnover margin, was 1 of 9 last week on third down. Florida commits 15 penalties, and Kentucky still wins the game. Yeah. They might just be having one of those magical years where the stars align, and when they need the ball to bounce their way, I'm not saying I think they're one of the most well-coached teams in all of college football. I think Mark Stoops is the best program builder in all of college football, but they've had some things bounce their way. I would probably say Auburn, but I think we all would agree that we still don't trust the quarterback situation. And as magical and as exciting and fun as those plays were that Bo Nix made the other night, and they had to be made, how many times have we seen plays start off that way from Bo Nix, but not end the way they did the other night?
Right.
So do you trust that he can do that, pull a rabbit out of the hat type stuff, and not have a negative result at the end?
Well, and what's that mean about LSU? Will other people make those plays and make those tackles on him? And you're right, that's the little girl with the curls. That was Vince Young in the NFL. You're making these crazy plays, but you can't make a career out of those kind of plays. Ultimately,
no.
It doesn't help you. Now, Kentucky gets LSU this week. LSU looks like, if LSU loses this one, do we begin, is this the first nail in the Ed Orgeron, hey, 2 years ago I won a national championship coffin, if they go to Kentucky and lose that football game?
I don't know how it can't be, because what happened this past offseason was they felt like they had the personnel, and when you look at their roster, they had just about everybody back and some potential All-American candidates, even a couple of first-rounders potentially. So what does he do? He goes out, and now he's got to fix the staff. So a new defensive coordinator, new offensive coordinator, made some shifts at position coaches, and that hasn't mattered. So now ultimately, where else is there to go but him? So yeah, this thing's going to start going downhill real quick if they don't start performing better.
So then there's Georgia. All right, scratch that one. They go to Mississippi State, could win, could lose. They get Tennessee at home. Tennessee, very impressive this past week, but it's at Tennessee. They're a better football team than Tennessee right now still. Vanderbilt shouldn't even be in the league. New Mexico State, and then at Louisville, which is a struggling football team. Kentucky's like 11-1. I mean, potentially,
I know
they could be 11-1 because of the way the schedule fell for them.
Yeah, and listen, the schedule's kind of fallen that way for Georgia too. I mean, take a look at Georgia's schedule and who they don't play out of the West. And that's played out pretty good for them.
Yeah, no, their schedule sets up really well as well. And then and Auburn has the more difficult schedule because of the fact that I don't know that Auburn will beat Arkansas or Ole Miss. They got to play all of these teams out of the West. Yet we think they might be the third best team. Maybe Alabama and Georgia are just that much separated from everybody else.
I think they are, and I'll say this: it's easy to pick on Ole Miss and Arkansas right now, but there were 127 other teams in college, or 25 teams in college football that didn't have to play Alabama and Georgia and would have had the same results. Okay, so I think we got to be careful that we don't all of a sudden say, no, okay, well, Arkansas has come back down to earth. Ole Miss has come back down to earth. I bet you both of those teams will play good football throughout the rest of the year, and now it's everybody else's turn to have to play Alabama and Georgia.
All right, where are you at this week?
I'm actually out west. Speaking of the 10th ranked Cougars, I've got BYU and Boise State on ABC at 3:30 Eastern Time. I'm actually really pleased about this game because if you look around the rest of the slate of games, there's a couple of games, but for the most part, it's not a great docket this week. There's
few intriguing games in the SEC. Certainly, we're very interested in Auburn, Georgia, Alabama, Texas A&M. Those are intriguing-looking games, no doubt about it. The Ole Miss, Arkansas game, but only one in the 10. Only the Penn State Iowa game in the 10 is it. I've got a very that schedule is weak, and then of course the cocktail party. So that's a good one that you got there. Is that up at Boise on that horrific blue turf, or is it down by BYU?
It's in Provo.
Nice.
Provo, and it'll be interesting to see how this thing plays out. It's interesting. The Mountain West seems to be catching up with Boise a little bit. And BYU, I'll tell you, man, BYU, with the extra year of eligibility, they're playing with 27-year-olds.
Yeah.
No wonder they're so good.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. They are. And their kid that you loved, Zach Wilson, finally had a really nice game, and they beat the Tennessee Titans yesterday. So, Zach Wilson looked pretty good. That's good for the program there at BYU. All right, appreciate you. Have safe travels. What a beautiful setting for a game. You know what I mean? Especially 3:30 in the afternoon Eastern time. It'll be, 1:30 out there. That stadium is in such a beautiful setting. That'd be enjoyable.
It's fantastic, man. All right, man, be good.
All right, appreciate you. Thanks. Tom Luginbill. It's good stuff. All right, we are now wide open the rest of the way. Grumpy says, stop fighting Kentucky for the number 3 team in the SEC. I just can't get my arms around it. I just can't get my arms around it. Okay, let's say that they upset Florida, or are they better than Florida? So then that makes them what? The second best team in the East. Would Kentucky beat Arkansas, Ole Miss, Auburn, Alabama? I think Kentucky would have 4 losses at least. Let me see what they do against LSU. Because LSU is near the bottom of the East of the West now, right? LSU, they got the win. LSU gets the win over Mississippi State. Mississippi State gets the win over A&M. Who? Arkansas beat A&M? How far down does A&M go? Just in the West. The West is brutal, man. There might be 4 teams in the West better than the second best team in the East. There's Georgia, and everybody else. And Georgia, their schedule, when you look at what Georgia's got the rest of the way, I mean, until the SEC championship game, who's pushing Georgia? See what they do with Auburn this week. All right, let's get a break. We'll come back. We are open lines now. Your reactions the rest of the show. 256-576-4977 will get you in the rest of the way. It's the Thom Abraham Show, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Simple Green is perfect for making your auto, RV, cycling, boating, and other sporting equipment look like new. Visit them at simplegreen.com.
MLB playoffs starting this week. The Dodgers, the favorites to win the World Series. They host the NL wildcard game against the Cardinals on Wednesday. Dodgers plus 350 odds to win it all. The Giants at plus 475. The Rays at plus 500. The Astros plus 600. And the White Sox at plus 650. Monday Night Football. The Raiders on the road taking on the Chargers. Vegas coming in a 3-point road underdog. The over-under 51.5. Both teams are 2-1 against the spread. UFC Vegas 39 Saturday in Vegas. The main event in the women's strawweight division. Mackenzie Dern, a minus 160 favorite against Marina Rodriguez at plus 135.
I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
TOC Sports has been there for you. Now, you're probably asking yourself, what does that mean? It means for more than 20 years, Alabama's largest orthopedic group has been there providing coverage and care to more schools and student athletes in the Tennessee Valley than any other group. It means whether you are the star football player, the all-region volleyball ace, or someone who hurt their knee in a weekend pickup basketball game, TOC Sports physicians are proud to have the opportunity to care for all your orthopedic needs. It means for parents, coaches, athletes, desk jockeys, or even weekend warriors, TOC Sports physicians continue to meet and exceed the orthopedic and sports medicine needs of our community. But most importantly, during these challenging times, we're here for you now, and will continue to be here. So as long as there are players on the field, games to be played, and contests to be won, the orthopedic specialists from TOC Sports will be ready to help. We don't know what the future holds, but you can count on the TOC Sports team to stay committed to you, so you can stay in the game. Call 256-539-2728 today and ask to see a TOC Sports physician. Check them out online, also Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
If you need a car, McCurry Motors is ready to put you in a quality vehicle, and in-house financing is available. If you have a job, McCurry Motors will work with you even if you have a bankruptcy, divorce, or bad credit. Visit McCurrySaysYes.com. Every car comes with a warranty, and they report to the credit bureau. With 2 locations, Highway 72 in Athens, call 256-230-0232, or Max Luther Drive in Huntsville. Call 256-713-0575.
Take your taste buds back in time with a trip to the all-new Bubby's Diner, offering a variety of mouth-watering food from delicious starters to 50s-style diner food and meat-and-free meals, featuring owner and Huntsville native Chris Bubby Belcher's family's homemade recipes. Open Monday through Saturday for breakfast, lunch, and dinner at 8412 Whitesburg Drive in the former Gibson's Barbecue. Drive-in, drive-through, carry-out, or curbside pickup with delivery coming soon through Grub South. Bubby's Diner, home of the Donut Burger.
Thom Abraham here for my friend Brian Hamaker and his team at North Alabama Mortgage. Look, buying a home is the biggest purchase you will make in your life, and it can be a bit intimidating, so you want people that can help walk you through the mortgage process and get you the best deal possible. That's what North Alabama Mortgage does, and they do it in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, from first-time purchases to refis, conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA loans. They have the solution at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
This is Wes Neighbors with Philip with Eagle Insulation, and we have an announcement to make.
Yes, Wes, we are now Eagle Masonry and Insulation. We're still a place to call for your insulation needs, but now we offer masonry services.
What kind of masonry projects can you handle?
Wes, no job is too big, no job is too small. We can do renovations, new construction, outdoor fireplaces, fire pits, brick landscape borders.
Well, when you came out to my house, you did both the insulation and masonry at the same time. You guys did rock for me, you did brick for me, and you insulated my house. That's usually done at the same time that you're building a house.
Absolutely. It really capitalizes on two services you need at the same time, and you can get one company to handle both of those.
Philip with Eagle Insulation will come out, do your installation. He'll do your masonry. They do a great job. They guarantee your work. Check out more online at insulatewitheagle.com and schedule your free examination today. 256-755-1556.
Thanks, Wes.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly cloudy sky with a couple of peaks of sunshine for your Monday afternoon. It does look like the vast majority of us are going to stay dry, though an isolated shower certainly can't be ruled out across all of North Tennessee. Temperatures a little cooler compared to what we saw last week. Highs only climbing into the mid and upper 70s, dropping into the lower 60s through the overnight. Better opportunities for widespread rain return to the Tennessee Valley as we head into your Tuesday. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Chuck Oliver. Listen to me coming up today at noon. Now back to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Welcome back, Thom Abraham Show. Glad that you are with us. This segment of the show is brought to you by TOC Sports. For all your injury needs, it's TOC Sports. There's nothing else that you need to know other than TOC Sports. So when your doctor says, hey, you really I would like you to see an orthopedic, you tell them you want to see the docs at TOC. All right, the phone lines are open now. If you want to jump in, you can do it. 256-576-4977. It's 256-576-4977. Now, everything is on the line. All right, we've been talking college football the entire show so far. Hour and a half of college football talk. So if you want to get into that, you can get into that. All right, we haven't spent much time on the Auburn game. We're going to spend a little bit more time with that tomorrow. Justin Ferguson is scheduled to join us, and we'll talk about that. But I'll tell you that play that Bo Nix made was absolutely stunning. And the fact that Brian, I'm talking about the touchdown. I mean, that was one of the most amazing
backyard stuff.
Oh, my God. Fran Tarkington scrambling all over the place.
Steve Young.
And then hitting the guy while he's going down. Yeah. I mean, that was an amazing, amazing play for him. And the fact that they came back from down 13 in that game. In the first half, they were down 13-0. Second half, they're down 19-10. That's a hell of a victory. I mean, Brian Harsin doing something that nobody at Auburn has been able to do since 1999. So, you've got to look at that. TJ Finley came in for a minute, just completed 1 of 4, didn't do anything running the ball, nothing. And is Jarquez Hunter now is he the go-to running back now? I mean, Tank Bigsby had 9 carries in the game for 27 yards. He averaged 3 yards a carry. Is Jarquez Hunter, who had 6 carries for 65 yards, is he the go-to guy? And you can't win with Bo Nix leading the team in rushing, which is what they ended up doing. Max Johnson is a nice college quarterback. He is not a big-time college quarterback. LSU can't run the ball. Their offensive line is sketchy at best. But Auburn loses that game. They're down 13-0. They lose that game. Not only do I pick up another win and beat the big dog, but they could kick out the 10 posts. I mean, that really could have indicated the end of it for Auburn. Now, all of a sudden, I think they might be the third best team right now. Let's see how they do against Georgia. Auburn has Georgia at home, at Arkansas, and Ole Miss at home, at Texas A&M. Can they split those games? It feels like they could lose all 4. It also feels like they could split them. Anything better than a split there, and it feels really good. I think they beat Mississippi State at home, even though Mississippi State went and beat Texas A&M, and they're going to beat South Carolina. So they've got 4 now. If they split the next 4, that's 4 more, and then they're at 8-4, which is where a lot of people thought they would be. Actually, a lot of people thought 7-5. You want to do NFL? You can do NFL, and the baseball playoffs are set as well. So we've got that if you want to jump into that. And it's going to open up with a glorious 1-game playoff between the Yankees and the Red Sox in Fenway Park. And it's Tuesday night, people. You've got no football to distract you. Watch the game. Yankees, Red Sox. I don't even want to call it a wild card game. I want to call it it's a 1-game playoff. Just like it was in 1978.
2-2. Line drive. Here comes Wade. Here's the throw. He's safe. And the Yankees walk off into the postseason.
That was what it sounded like last night. This is what it sounded like in 78.
Runners at first and second, 2 outs. Here in the 7th inning, the Yankees are trailing 2-0. Dent is the key man. Stretched by Torres, the set, the kick, and the pitch. Hit deep to left field. This one may be off the wall, maybe in the screen. Home run! Home run for Bucky Dent. Home run, and the Yankees lead it 3-2.
Bucky Dent. Bucky Dent couldn't hit the ball out of his shadow. Bucky Dent was using Mickey Rivers' bat. Bucky Dent's bat had broken. He had fouled one off his leg. Mickey Rivers gave him his bat, and Bucky Dent choked up on his bat. He was holding his bat like at the label. All right, maybe not quite there, but I mean he had like 6 inches of bat sticking out at the bottom of the bat. Bucky Dent. The only thing that would be more glorious about the Yankees and Red Sox in a 1-game playoff on Tuesday is if the game was at like 3 in the afternoon. But, of course, it won't be. It'll be 7 o'clock Central Time. Damn. All right, let's go to the lines. We start in order of the longest wait. Dale is up. Dale, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, how you doing, Tom?
I am fantastic.
I was wondering, as an Auburn fan, I don't know if that game was just a mirage with Bo running around like he was or what it was. But, I mean, he played really good, but honestly, you said pretty much what I was going to say. I think we can probably win them all, except maybe Georgia. But Georgia, I think if Georgia throws the ball 7 times against us, I think we got a really good shot. If Owen, I can't never pronounce his last name, Poppy, whatever, he hasn't played in 2 games.
Papo.
If he comes back, Papo, I think if he comes back, we got a better shot if he's playing.
Well, yeah, I mean, and Georgia threw the ball 11 times against they were 7 for 11, I think, against Arkansas. But that was because they ran the ball like crazy, and they had a suffocating defense. I'm trying to figure out how Auburn is going to score against Georgia. You know, I mean, how are they going to score? You know, that's my concern for Auburn.
I was thinking, but if Owen comes back, he's a great linebacker, but he might just stays hurt all the time. But if he comes back, then he got McClain. They can maybe slow down the run game, but I really don't. Yeah, I don't think
they'll score 37 on them, like they did Arkansas. But I think they'll score 27, and I don't know how Auburn is going to score. It could be 27-10 or something like that. Now you say they can win the rest of them.
I think they can beat. I mean, I'm pretty sure they can beat Ole Miss. I mean, I think they can. I know they can beat them. I don't know if they will. But Arkansas, that's the wild card. I was so shocked by how they got beat. It was unreal. I figured at least they'd give them a game, but that just blew my mind.
At Arkansas, at Texas A&M. And Arkansas, you're right.
Texas A&M don't scare me none. I mean, I don't know. They weren't supposed to be really good at garbage right now. I mean, they're garbage.
Don't have a quarterback.
Their quarterback. Yeah, quarterback. Hey, who won the trifecta?
The trifecta, you and Kramer. You and Kramer picked up a point, but neither one of you hit the tiebreaker. So you both got a point on the big board. Kramer's got 2, Mr. Brown's got 2, Wolverine Dan has 2, and you have 1 on the big board. So we're still a long ways to go, but you're on the board.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. So did nobody really get to go to the gift card or anything like that, or whatever?
No, not if nobody wins the tiebreaker. So next week we got $100 worth of champions on the line for this upcoming Friday trifecta.
I had the tiebreaker. If Antonio Brown just catches that ball, you could tell that Tom Brady wasn't going for a field goal. Dan, he took 2 passes to Antonio Brown, and he should have caught the last one. You know. When you like to been a fly on the wall, and he's talking about Belichick coming there after the game and talk to Brady for 20 minutes.
Yeah, that would have been that would have been a great thing to hear. But I'm sure they're fine.
Oh,
Thanks
they're good.
Thanks for the call, Dale. That's a good job by you. Appreciate it. And I know the kid misses the field goal. It doinks the field goal. But here's the thing. Honestly, weren't you hoping he was making it just to see Tom Brady with the ball in his hand in the last minute? I mean, is there any chance? There was 56 seconds left. There is no chance that if he made that field goal, right, and it's now 20-19, there is no chance that Brady doesn't take his team down for a Ryan Suckup field goal to win the game. They were going to win that game by 1 point either way. They were winning that game by 1 point. But Mac Jones, when I say Mac Jones outplayed Tom Brady.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and it's not real close. Tom Brady was 22 of 43 for 269 and a 70.8 rating. Mac Jones was 31 of 40 with no running game.
Yeah.
Tom Brady had more yards rushing than the entire New England Patriots team. The Patriots ran the ball 8 times for a -1 yard. And yet Mac Jones threw it 40 of 31 for 275, 2 touchdowns for a 101 rating. What would Mac Jones do if he had Mike Evans, if he had Antonio Brown?
Yeah.
If he had Godwin? He had nothing compared to what Tom Brady has. Mac Jones looked – that's the story of that game.
Here's my question. Do you think that Bill Belichick would have let Tom Brady go for that and then get a few more yards and then maybe spike it and then kick a field goal?
Say that again?
You know, it's like 56 seconds left, right?
Yeah.
They kick a field goal, right? And he misses, right? Do you think if Tom Brady was quarterbacking the Patriots, do you think Bill Belichick would have let him go for it, get a few more yards, then spike it, then kick a field goal?
No, not on 4th and 4.
No?
It was too much.
You don't think so?
No.
You don't think so? If they were down, Brady's trying to come back, they're 56 yards away, you don't think?
No.
You don't
I
think
don't
so?
think so.
You can't get 4 more yards for Mac Jones?
No. Yeah, that's just taking too much of a risk. You got to try.
You're trying to beat Brady. You don't want him back on the field, right?
I understand that, but I don't think that you can. I think 4th and 4, the odds are so much less to get 4th and 4 against the Bucs when you can't run the ball. They're going to sack. They're going to sack him on that next play if they go for it on 4th and 4.
It's not like they're playing the Falcons. They don't have Heineke doing magic stuff and doing stuff.
The guy hit the post, for God's sakes. Knock it through, will you? Goodness gracious! All right, let's go back to the phones. Keith, the Michigan fan, is next. Keith, welcome to the show. How are you?
Doing all right, big dog. Hey, first that's Sir Francis Tarkington. I don't know who knighted him, but I remember as a teenager.
It was always Sir Francis. Yeah, it was always Sir Francis.
Sir Francis Tarkington.
Yeah.
Hey, you always talking about kicking Vandy out of the SEC.
Yeah.
Isn't Vandy the only reason that academically football is relevant in the SEC? Because don't you have to have some type of standard?
Yeah, but it doesn't affect the whole league. It only affects their team. You know, they have a nice APR, but so does Florida, so does Alabama, so does Auburn. You know, they're all graduating their players. You know, so that's always the misnomer is you say you keep Vandy because it looks good for the league in terms of having. But my God, they almost got beat by Connecticut, which shouldn't even belong. Connecticut's dropping, to Division I.
Joseph Bullivas.
I mean, it's just a disaster.
Well, I know one of the reasons why some of the Pac-12, the Big 12 teams could not go into the Big 10 was academics.
Well, no. It's not so much academics. What it is the Big 10 has a rule that all the teams have to be a member of the AAU. All right, there's only 4 or 5 teams in the SEC that are members of that, and certain teams are not. Like Iowa State is, but Kansas State is not.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So there's a certain academic standard that you have to have. You have to be a part of this group to be in the Big Ten. So some teams are, some teams aren't, but it's not the AAU that we think of, in sports. It's the AAU, I forget exactly what it stands for. Grizz, you can look that up. But it's the academic. Your school has to be a part of that organization to be in the Big Ten. And several Big 12 schools do not have that designation.
Right, because I knew I've heard that, and it's like, academic standards. I mean, you go to college to get a degree, and academic standards, all of that's supposed to play a part. But then you look at some of these schools, like, okay, this kid can't even write his own name.
Well, it's funny because Ohio State, you think of that with Ohio State. Who was the player years ago? He stayed for a senior, and he literally had, golf was his class. They joked. They said he was taking basket weaving. It was the A.J. Hawk or somebody like that. It was a linebacker, and he stayed for his senior year, and he took golf. I mean, it's the Association of American Universities. That's what AAU stands for. It's the association, and it's the Organization of American Research Universities devoted to maintaining a strong system of academic research and education. And every team in the Big Ten is that, and to be in the Big Ten, you have to be in the AAU.
You remember the player for the Washington Redskins? I can't think of his name, but he was crying because he actually said that, he was illiterate. They just passed him right on through because he was a great football player.
Dexter Manley could not read or write. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thanks a lot, big dog.
All right, man. Appreciate you. I'm looking for the SEC schools in the AAU. Let's see which ones are in the AAU. Tennessee, Vanderbilt. No, wait a minute. That's the schools in the. I don't know. I got to look that up.
Missouri, Vanderbilt, and Texas A&M. The rest are not. Well, yeah, I'm sorry, Florida. I didn't see
Florida's
the top.
In it.
Missed the top.
Yeah. I looked up in the AAU and I ended up with the SEC, all the SEC schools. But yeah, so Florida is in it. And
Florida, Missouri, Vanderbilt, Texas A&M.
Let me get Grumpy in here. Grumpy! Welcome in.
Hey, man, I hate to shatter your dreams and everything, but Mickey Rivers corked his bat, and Kentucky is number 3 in the SEC.
Wait a minute, corked bat. Yeah, but with Kentucky, are they that good?
Yeah, because the question
or is
posed
it an upset?
is listen, the question posed isn't who's better next week. It's right now. And if you want to play next week kind of things, let me ask you this. Do you think that Auburn could upset Florida? I don't. I think if Auburn and Florida played 10 times, Florida would win 10 times.
All 10 times?
Yeah,
you don't think they can get them once?
Well, my point is Kentucky has a better football team than Auburn does right now. They're playing better team football. Auburn, Bo Nix looked good scrambling. The linemen did no one's talking about this, but the linemen did a really good job picking up their man after their man got into the backfield. Mm-hmm. Bo Nix could move, and Bo Nix did great. I'm not taking anything away from Bo Nix. I'm just trying to give credit to the offensive line for staying on their blocks after they got beat. Because if you look at any of those plays where Bo was scrambling, after he dodged a defensive guy, immediately an offensive lineman was on him to where he didn't have to dodge him again, and he didn't really get chased by him. He just had to dodge him and then get out in the open and chunk the ball. I'm not taking anything away from Bo. I'm just saying the offensive line stayed on their blocks.
If Florida played Kentucky 10 times, how many times Kentucky win that game? I mean, they blocked the kick.
I think Kentucky plays better team ball. I think they have the talent now, and I think that they could beat them 6 out of 10 times.
Really?
Just for argument's sake, hell yeah. I mean, you can't prove me wrong. I mean, my point is Kentucky plays good team football.
Yeah. Well, the question is, was it an upset? That's the question. Was it just an upset, or are they really better? And they're 5-0. So yeah, you're right. Right now,
they're better than Auburn.
They're okay. So they're better. I don't know if they're better than Arkansas or Ole Miss. Do you think Auburn is going to beat Arkansas and Ole Miss? See, Auburn beats Arkansas, Ole Miss. That's better than anything outside of the Florida win that Kentucky has.
I don't think Kentucky would beat Ole Miss. So I guess they would be. when I made this phone call, it was to say that Kentucky's playing better football than
right
Auburn.
now. Yes,
that was my main thing. It wasn't Auburn that's number 3, and I think.
But Kentucky
Belichick
gets beat by. If Kentucky
go
that's
ahead.
why this LSU game is so important. But if Kentucky were to go to Penn State, they would have gotten beat just like Auburn got beat. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying.
Could Kentucky travel to LSU and beat LSU?
No, they didn't. They play
Said
LSU
could
this
they?
week. Oh, could they? I don't know. Could they beat them at home?
Let me say that
We'll see.
I think that you said the hero last night was Matt. What's his? I'm sorry.
No, I say he
the
played
player.
better. Yeah, the story. The
Yeah,
story was the
yeah.
fact that Mac Jones showed that he's a real deal. I mean, they got a
But
quarterback.
Dan Belichick knows. I think he did a great. I think the best job of the night was his coaching to keep that game close to prepare the team for Tom Brady.
How in the hell does a game come down to a kick when you have minus 1 yard rushing? How does that happen? You had minus 1 yard rushing, and somehow Belichick had his team a field goal away from taking the lead with 55 seconds to go in the game. That's a hell of
You'd
a
have
coaching
to ask
job.
You'd have to ask Mike Leach that question.
So, what does Auburn do in the next 4? Can they split them? Do they win 3 out of 4? Georgia,
I think
Ole
Auburn
Miss,
can, I think
Arkansas.
Auburn, I think Auburn can beat South. I didn't mean to step on you there. South Carolina at South Carolina. I think we'll probably lose to Texas A&M, Georgia, probably Arkansas. It could be that Auburn gets one more win this year. I was talking about that at halftime of the game, with my friends. We could get one more win this year.
Now, they'll be State at home, and they'll beat South Carolina at South Carolina. So there's 2. So you're saying that you don't think Georgia at Arkansas, Ole Miss at Texas A&M, you think they can lose all 4 of those? You don't think they'll split those?
I'm not impressed. LSU is not. Everybody's saying Auburn's looking good now. You have to remember how bad LSU is playing football.
They beat Mississippi State, who beat A&M. I don't know.
I'm
It's so nuts.
I'm just saying. I'm not impressed. And Hunter is our running back. I think Tank was great, and he is great, but I don't think he's better than Hunter.
Yeah, Hunter
when you
right
hit
now.
Hunter, you get hit. He's one of those guys that has that muscle strength that other guys it's just incredible. You grew up with guys, everybody grew up with a guy that when you hit him, it was just different.
Just natural, too. It's just natural strength. Just something God gave him.
Yeah, man.
All right, man.
Yep.
Appreciate you.
All right, brother. Thanks.
That's what's so jacked up about the West right now.
I found out about that before.
Oh, yeah.
The receiving end of one of those hits.
When
you realize you're too small.
My son played with a kid, even if you're not too small, even if the other guy's too small. My son played with Noel Devine in high school.
Yeah.
The kid that went on to...
I remember him.
Yeah, West Virginia.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Noel Devine had never touched a weight when he was a freshman. He and my son were freshmen together. So they go into the weight room
So
together.
I thought about Anthony Schwartz.
Noel Devine was 135 pounds soaking wet as a freshman. So he goes into the weight room.
Yeah.
And my son was about the same size anyway. So Noel Devine lays down on the bench press, had never touched a weight in his life. The guys were laughing at him because he didn't know how to put his thumbs on the bar when he laid down to do benching.
Yeah.
And Noel Devine, there was 145 pounds on. Remember, he weighed 135.
Makes me look good.
There was 145 pounds on the bar, and he weighed 135 pounds, and he jacked it up 10 times and then just stopped for the hell of it and put it back on the rack. He was one of these kids. He was cut like an Adonis. He was just built like an Adonis.
You just didn't know he's wiry?
He's
wiry.
Strong.
The
Didn't
replacements.
even know what he had. Let's get a break. We'll come back and wrap it up. It's Thom Abraham Show, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Organizations using Salesforce know how powerful the platform is and how much time, money, and headaches it saves if it's set up right and you know how to use it. Let's face it, Salesforce is complicated and time-consuming to figure out, and a lot can go wrong now and down the road without expert help. That's why most Salesforce users work with an implementation partner like Higher Echelon, so they get the absolute most out of their Salesforce investment. Higher Echelon is a 5-star Salesforce consulting partner who won Salesforce Military Hiring Partner of the Year. President Dr. Joe Ross is retired Army, who played and later coached boost for the cadets. He puts that experience to good use at Higher Echelon, where they pride themselves on hiring veterans. Look, not all Salesforce partners are the same. Don't put your company at risk by going with an inferior partner. Higher Echelon is the trusted partner you can count on to get you up and running and seeing returns on your Salesforce investment in a fraction of the time it would take if you go it alone. Go to higherechelon.com. That's HIGHERECHELON.com to learn more. Go higher and go Army.
Isn't the story of the prodigal son an amazing story? Basically, a rowdy boy who literally wished his father dead ran away and consumed his wealth with hard and fast living. Yet the father looked for his return every day, and when the boy got tired of eating pig slop, he decided to return. What did the father do? As soon as he saw that boy, he ran to him, threw his arms around him, and killed the fatted calf for a great celebration. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of the Cross Point Church. If you're looking for a church home, come see us, smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
Hello? Hello, Mrs. Kuntz. It's the back left tire of your RV calling. Wanted to give you a heads up that I'm going to blow out on the highway later today.
Wait, what?
Says here I'm going to burst in the middle of rush hour.
Well, can we reschedule?
Sorry, our policy states that once we're scheduled to burst, we have to. We really pride ourselves on our commitment to blowouts.
RV owners can't schedule when things go wrong on the road. That's why there's Progressive, a leader in RV insurance.
You want a text confirmation when I burst?
Think I'll notice.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliate.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here have trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up. Tired of the same old menu options everywhere you go? Then you need to try Metro Diner in Huntsville and Madison. The award-winning Metro Diner serves up signature dishes like their Charleston shrimp and grits, famous fried chicken and waffles with strawberry butter, and lots more. Their entire menu is available anytime, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And stop by for brunch on Saturday or Sunday and enjoy the lowest price mimosas in town. Airport Road, Huntsville, and Highway 72 in Madison. In diner or at home, make it Metro Diner.
People stay just a little bit longer. We want to play just a little bit longer. The promoter don't mind.
All right, wrapping it up. Got a couple of minutes left. If you want to jump in, you can do it. Grizz, tonight, the Chargers are 3-point favorite at home against the Raiders. What do you think? You think the Chargers are going to beat the Raiders tonight?
I think it's going to be a shootout. I think it's going to be a great game. I'm banking on in my fantasy, I need to win. For fantasy, I need Justin Herbert to at least get 6 points. So, I mean, he can just, get a few yards.
Fall out of the
you just never know, man. You could that's the thing about Monday night games. It's just they could get an injury. You never know what could happen. But no, I think it's going to be a great game. It's just crazy how well the Raiders have been playing. As much as everyone's been kind of joking
win the game?
on
That was the question. The question was, who will win a game?
Chargers.
Okay, so if the Chargers win the game,
yeah.
4 weeks into the season, there's one undefeated team, and it's the Arizona by God Cardinals.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Do you believe that?
Well, they've got a, even without Hopkins, right now, or just playing hurt that he's doing right now, they're just playing really well, and their defense is playing, lights out, and it's just, that guy is like they call him Mighty Mouse.
They've won a couple of close ones.
It's ridiculous what Kyler Murray and that offense is doing right now, keeping them in games, and just to take down the Rams like they did after the Rams dismantled the Bucs.
And they beat the Rams to death.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, they beat
Well,
the
look
Rams
at
to death.
but it's like look at the Seahawks. That's the thing about the NFC West is they do that all the time. It's like the National League East. They just beat up on each other, and it's just like seems like nobody wants to win that division.
Well,
the NFC
right now,
West
it
does
seems
that
like-
every single year.
Seems like right now they want to win it.
And they're very competitive. I mean, the Seahawks, the Seahawks go out and win, and then, over the 49ers, and you never know, the 49ers could pick up a win or two over the Rams or the Cardinals. I mean, it's just crazy how that division works.
Well, they've got the 49ers at home. Then they go to Cleveland. That ought to be a hell of a game. The Cardinals.
Oh, yeah.
At the Browns ought to be one
Two
heck
great
of a game.
defenses.
Yeah, my fantasy, I have a 50-point lead going into tonight.
Who's the guy left?
He's got Justin Herbert and Mike Williams. So
Yeah. I mean, that's what's crazy about that. I mean, your quarterback can put up a 20 burger, and and then receiver 15, maybe 25. Who knows?
I like the Raiders. I want the Raiders to win. I'm going to pull for the Raiders. But if the Chargers win, I mean, it's everybody in the AFC 3-1. It's just nuts. All right. That's going to do it for us. Coming up next, Nick Saban. Stay tuned to listen to what he has to say going into Texas A&M week on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.